So tell me, you were talking about why people are leaving Cali. I know you've talked about this before. Talk to me about that, because I'm hearing that everywhere I go. I was in Austin, Texas. I was in Arizona. Now I'm in Vegas, and this is all in the last couple months. And each place I went, these are all near Cali. Every single one of those places said, so many people are moving here from California.
Yeah.
Why?
It's funny. I think those are the top three. I was actually in Austin. Yeah, that's where we met. We met in
Austin,
FinCon.
yeah.
Yep. And I know many people that have moved to Austin recently. And Austin ain't cheap, dude. I mean, Austin's
not cheap at all.
expensive. You know, Dallas and those places are much cheaper, but Austin's becoming the tech hub. That's why everyone's moving there. It's like, dude, should I be in Silicon Valley or should I be in Texas with no state income tax, where I still can go meet all these tech people and hire from the tech workforce, but it's just going to be significantly less. Like Elon Musk, great example of that.
He moved a big part of his manufacturing plant from Cali to Austin.
Yep. So I think tech is going to continue to do that, just because I don't know who would want to own a business in California, because with most tech companies, right? Like, you're tech. You don't need to be locally anywhere, right? Unless you need to be around like Apple and all these other things. But if you're starting a brand new tech company, there's no reason to ever be in Cali.
Because the taxes?
The taxes, the restrictions they put on you for your business. I mean, like, that was part of what made Elon leave, is like during the pandemic, you know, he wanted to get his workers back to work and they wouldn't let him. They're like, we're going to fine you every day. We're going to shut your factory down. We're going to do this. And Elon's like, dude, let us work. And so I think when you combine California's just very, you know, restrictive nature, plus the taxes, plus with the world going more remote and digital, like, it's starting to lose its appeal as like the beach is nice and the weather's great, but man, how much is it really worth?
Yeah, I mean, I love I've been to San Diego, I've been to LA. I definitely like SoCal. It's a beautiful place. And, you know, I haven't spent a lot of time in Vegas, but I'm here now. I've been to Arizona. It's not the same, but everywhere I go, everyone, you know, they're like, don't start a business in Cali.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to, you know, you brought that up now, and it's like, man, like, what does that mean for California? Because I know a lot of people that watch this channel, or one of our biggest demographic is in California.
And I bet you they're all looking to leave. If you're looking to leave Cali, you're thinking about it. Comment below, because I bet you a big chunk of them are thinking about it. I'll just say, like, from my experience in Cali, I've, you know, some of my employees live in Cali that work remote. And I have 8 properties in Big Bear, California right now, which I Airbnb. And I started buying those properties 4 years ago. And, you know, at the time I was like, dude, I think Big Bear's undervalued. You know, it's pretty cheap for California. It's pretty cheap for, you know, a snow cabin town. Like, I think it's going to go up. And I was right. You know, my first house I bought there, I paid $200,000 for it. Today it's worth about $450,000. Wow. 4 years later.
Wow.
And it's just, that market has gone bonkers. I bought one that I was going to keep. I bought it for $300,000. We were doing a garage conversion, making it square footage. And, you know, the city just popped us for all these permits and all this crap. And it took 2 years to get it complete.
Holy cow.
Just now finished it 2 years later, right? And in any normal world, you would lose money. Like, taking that long to renovate a place.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting any rent. You're paying money for taxes and all are expensive with no money coming in.
Yeah, and I got loans on it and everything. Like, I was bleeding money on that house. But guess what? 2 years later, by the time it got done, I looked at the prices and I go, let's just sell it. I listed it for $700,000.
Wow, and you bought it for what?
$300,000.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how much we ended up putting into it after all this, maybe like $60,000. But like... Wow. You know, at the time when I bought it, I thought it was worth, you know, probably $450 when it was all fixed up, and it's crazy. But long story short, I've had these rentals for a long time. They were doing great, making great cash flow. Also being a great resource for the city. You know, I'm bringing in tourism. We're paying our taxes. Like, it's great for everybody. But when you're Cali, you don't like great things, apparently. And so what they did was they started restricting Airbnbs. They said, hey,
really?
You can only own, I think it was like one or something. Like, you know, even though I was already grandfathered in, they're like, yeah, from now on, people can only have one Airbnb. And we're going to make the just all the rules harder. We're going to make check-ins harder. We're going to make the taxes higher. We're going to restrict how many you can own. We're going to make like just everything about running an Airbnb business way harder. And it was the first time where I'm just like, man, is it even worth all this headache to deal with these guys? Like, and if this is just the last couple of years, where's this going?
Yeah.
Do I want to keep owning real estate here? Because it's such a pain.
So what's going to happen to housing prices in Cali?
That's the thing, man. A lot of people were thinking, oh, well, then Cali prices are going to go down. But I mean, I think what happens is you get just different people migrating there from China, from these other things that,
Really?
you know, they're like, oh man, like I got to get out of China. This place sucks. You know, like there's always somebody, you know, people from Cali are like, I got to get out of Cali and go to Vegas. People from China are like, I got to get out of China and go to Cali.
So it's like a funnel. People still going to Cali, but people that are in Cali are leaving.
You're getting a lot of foreigners who are going to Cali.
Interesting.
But you're not getting anybody move from Wyoming to Cali. Nobody's migrating to Cali.
From the States.
Yeah.
So if you're a business owner, then you're saying stay out of Cali, look into some of these other places where everyone else is moving to, because there's a lot of people moving, demand is coming, and if you want to flip things like houses, there's a lot of opportunity here still.
Yeah, for sure. A ton here still. You know, and the other thing too with Cali, part of that story was the permits. Dude, getting permits and anything done with the city is just such a headache, man, compared to other states.
I've dealt with that before. I made a video on my worst real estate deal ever. This is a property that I bought in the city of Detroit, and they were permitting me or finding me for everything. And what happened was, this is like after the 2008 crash.
Mm-hmm.
So like the city went bankrupt, and like they did not have inspectors. And you know, an inspector would come out and they would say, your electrical riser needs to be 13 feet. Like, okay, so then we would make it 13 feet, and they'd fine us for whatever reason. We make it 13 feet. The next inspector would come and say, why is it 13 feet? It needs to be 10 feet. Like the last guy said 13. And so now we had to change it again. And then they would permit us for everything. I mean, they made us pay $100 permit fee to add smoke detectors. They made us pay $100 permit fee to pay for windowsills. They made us, permit fees for everything. If you want to paint the kitchen, we had to pay a permit fee. It made no sense.
Like what is the permit needed? Like we're painting.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I think that's a good point where, you know, especially if you want to be in a business like a side hustle or flipping real estate, like you have to kind of look at the jurisdiction that you're in.
Yeah.
Because different cities are going to have different rules.
Well, with entrepreneurs, right? You want freedom, right? That's why we become entrepreneurs. We don't want to be told what to do.
Right.
And so when Cali wants to tell you how they want things, it makes it tough. And like, funny story. So, you know, with an Airbnb permit, every year they got to re-inspect the place, right? So I already had my permits. I've been paying taxes. Well, you know, they go to inspect it on one of my properties, and they're like, hey, this isn't, like, you can't do this anymore, because I had a house and a guest house. And they're like, the guest house was never permitted. And I go, I bought it like this. You know, this is a cabin. Like, some of these houses were built with nothing. Like, they're built by people's hands, like, just with no city. And they're like, yeah, but you can't do it. I go, I've been paying taxes on this for 2-3 years. Like, how are you going to tell me I can't continue to rent this? And like, well, you can't. So they, you know, like
they shut your business down essentially.
They shut down that piece of the property, and that little guest house was making me like $50,000 a year.
What?
So I have not been able to rent that. Another time on one of the other properties was, you know, we were renting it, we're doing the thing, and then all of a sudden, you know, we get the inspector in. You know, they just were making the inspections way more stringent, right? But we end up doing it. You know, they have to come out 3 times because, you know, they come out the first time, they say, hey, fix these things. They come out again, and we fix them all, and they said, oh, well, we missed these 2 things. I'm like, dude.
I've heard that so many times.
Dude, and so then they come out the 3rd time finally, right? And we fix them all. He goes, okay, great, I'm going to sign off. Signs off, right? Well, months later, we get a call or a letter from Big Bear, and they're like, hey, you're renting this without a permit. Like, what are you talking about? They're like, you never passed final inspection. And we're like, dude, we've passed it. The guy came out 3 times, whatever. Like, well, we don't have record of it in the system. And I go,
oh my God.
Well, what do you want me to do about it? Like, he came. Like, here's the text messages. Here's, you know, whatever. And they go, well, you're going to have to appeal the fine. And I go, I'm not paying the fine. What are you talking about? And they're like, well, you can't appeal unless you pay it. And the fine was $8,000.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And so I had to pay the fine to appeal the fine, which I ended up winning. And during the appeal, they said, hey, Yeah, we've been having some issues with like them not documenting the final inspections.
Did you get the $8,000 back?
I got like 6,500 back because they pinged me for
The fees.
something else. I was just like, dude, like I'm so over this.
If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.